Bruce Lee, and then Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then who? After Jean-Claude Van Damme, who is the next? Nobody.
Let's go over this question, which is going to be a little controversial. Turbo Terminator. Here's a question, and we'll start with you, Jose. Who truly is the best, Bruce Lee or Van Damme?
There's a bomb that's going to go off any second now. You know what happens then?
Bruce Lee.
You know what's funny is I want to say the impact that Bruce had on martial arts. You know what I mean? You can't. It's like Jordan in basketball, right? People are going to be better, and I'm a Jordan guy, right? But no one's ever going to do what Michael Jordan did, and I think Bruce is the same way now. Is Van Damme a prettier kicker? Hell yeah. We haven't seen anything like. I would say, and it's funny you brought up on camera at that time in the 80s when he came out, nobody was kicking Van Damme at that time. The only other person, and this is me because I'm a big fan of him as well, is Philip Reed. When Philip does his spinning kicks, beautiful on camera. Beautiful.
Everything's beautiful. Yeah.
Right. But at that time, even Bruce, right? When you saw some of the kicks, like they didn't look, that same way. But Bruce's impact was crazy. I'm just saying. And I love Bruce. I only started crying.
I just think the speed was just too they didn't do that camera stuff like they do now.
Right.
His speed, he was just too fast. That's why.
Yeah.
His technique, I just think his kicks was just too fast. And even Chuck was good. Like he was fast.
Right.
I give it, but it was just like, I mean, of course, Van Damme, he prettied it up is what he did.
Right. He was a
Jean-Claude, he prettied it up where it looked good. Like it was like it went at you. Like it was. He made it 3D.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
That's what I would say. But the impact that Bruce Lee had, it's like Jordan. I don't really think.
Yeah, it's like
I see that again. I really don't think so.
I think the big thing to think about Bruce is he was like one of the earlier pioneers of physics, right? The basis of what he was saying was fundamentally correct. And would he have had to fight more to be a fighter? Sure. He'd have to have seen what MMA is and done all those things, because that wasn't a matter of fact. He was rolling against the current train of thoughts. Karate guys did karate things, judo guys did judo things, boxing guys did. Nobody was saying, let's try it all together and see what happens. I mean, we know
he was the first one.
Yes, he was. The Gracies give him credit. They say he was like the father of MMA.
He was literally the first all-around fighter.
Right.
Or he wanted to be. He learned from everybody. Everybody he won from, he learned from. Everybody he lost from, he learned from. That's why Bruce Lee gets he's the GOAT.
Do you ever see the hidden moves of Bruce Lee? It's there's YouTube videos of it, and whenever you see him move, there's something you don't catch. But when you slow it down, he's literally doing feints, and his movies he's feinting the guy.
He where he gets that from? He got that from boxing. Because people don't know he was a boxer. His favorite boxer was Muhammad Ali. That's what made him. He was an amateur boxer. People don't know that about Bruce Lee. He gets the feints from boxing, and then he applied it to everything else. That's why it was beautiful.
That's what added that realism to his fights. Like Van Damme doesn't have that in his movie fights, but his movie fights are prettier. So if I answered this question, like I forget how it was phrased, because even the way it was phrased, he could be talking about different things. I think he's just like, who's the best as a martial artist and a cultural icon? Bruce Lee, because 100 years from now, people will still know Bruce Lee. Like everybody will know Bruce Lee. There will be a handful of people that know Van Damme, but not everybody will know Van Damme. Like if you went anywhere in the world and you said, hey, do you know who Bruce Lee is? Unless they've been living under a rock, they would say, yeah, of course. Whereas if you ask Van Damme, you might get 50-50.
Right.
You might get 50-50. So like, who's the best? A pure martial artist and a cultural icon, Bruce Lee. A movie star, I would actually say Van Damme.
You're a big action guy. I mean, what do you think about this?
And that's because he elevated what Bruce Lee did. Bloodsport is as big as Enter the Dragon. What does Bruce Lee have outside of Enter the Dragon? He's got a handful of films, but he doesn't have the filmography Van Damme does. And because everything builds off of it, he's very Bruce-like in his noises, his physique. Obviously, he's bigger, he's ripped. Yeah. But I would say Van Damme as the bigger actual movie star, because he was basically A-list with Time Cop and all that other stuff.
I'm still kicking. I must be on Broadway.
Had Bruce Lee lived longer, he would have elevated, much higher. But that's one of the.
You don't know that either. It could have been. It could have went downward.
Right.
No, I don't think so. Not with his mindset and how
if it was
taken off, he would have took off in the 80s.
I think one thing we got to take into consideration about Bruce too is he had injuries. His back it'd been interested to see if he could have, how long he would have lasted. But I do believe he would have been an MMA coach. He would have became an MMA coach, and nowadays, right now, you would see him at the UFC. And
he'd be at UFC.
It would be legit in the UFC, and because he would have thrown out some maybe different arts and said, well, we shouldn't focus so much on trapping. It would have evolved, and it would have became. I think he would have been profound in it, but everybody's favorite, right? Some people like the way that Jean-Claude Van Damme moves. You and I happen to think Bruce Lee's more elegant, and there's just
I just go by the realism of everything. Because think about it, who before Bruce Lee ever thought about martial arts? Who? Mm-hmm. And people don't know about James Cagney was a judo black belt. He was doing judo in a lot of his old movies. People don't know that. There were a lot of martial artists like karate guys before Bruce Lee even came, to the scene. People don't know that. I forgot the guy's name, but he was doing it was terrible karate, but he was trying it, but I just don't remember that. But
a little bit on the side of Captain Kirk.
But I think listeners, guys, though, the impact that
he was a wrestler.
Bruce is like Jewish. I think it's the same comparison. Bruce Lee, right? Like no one's gonna have the impact that Bruce did. That's a closed chapter. I really don't think anybody's gonna have that type of impact that Bruce. I don't think so.
Brian, real quick, go back to Tomahawk's other comment you had on before this one, where he said, I think Bruce Lee portrayed himself in film, and Jean-Claude Van Damme portrayed Frank Dukes, which is true. Bruce Lee was a real master of the martial arts, and JCVD only plays one in film. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you guys think Jean-Claude Van Damme is not a martial arts master? He's just really great on film?
Well, I mean, by now he got to be great because he's been doing it. I mean, think about it. It's like he was a black belt before he got on, right? So, and that was what 1986 is where we saw him talk. Mm-hmm. Like that's where he appeared on the scene. And he was, and no retreat, no surrender, and he was a badass. People were scared of that dude when he came out in that white suit, and he jumped out and kicked and broke the dude's leg, and he was scared. I mean, he fought Sugarfoot Cunningham in that movie.
Yeah,
and I mean, he was a little. They was nervous. Yeah. Folk was nervous, because who is this dude? He came out he looked scary. We didn't think he was Belgian. We thought he was Russian for real.
Sure.
We didn't. So yeah, I give him and even Chuck Zito, and Chuck Zito knocked him out. And even Chuck Zito told me, because I talked to him about it. I was like, he kicks hard. He kicks hard, and I believe that. You don't have that. Martial arts training makes you strong. Right. When you do it like that, no matter who you are, it makes you strong. You do it like the way he did it, and I believe he had it. I mean, he did. I give him his respect as far as martial arts go. I do. 100%. I do.
You got to. Everybody should, man. The way I think Tomahawk, if I had to guess, the way he's framing this would be: look, Van Damme came on the scene in 1986, and he was spectacular. How much did he evolve from that, or was he simply trying to maintain what he had as best he could? See, I think a guy like Bruce Lee would continue to evolve the rest of his life. I also believe a guy like Steven Seagal, who I consider a true martial arts master, especially with attention IQ and everything else, continued to evolve. Whereas you could make the argument, as great as Van Damme Michael Jai White, Scott Atkins are, especially on film, are they martial arts masters? I mean, maybe, but I don't think on the level of
I think so.
Seagal, I don't think they're at that level of mastery.
Well, because they're still learning, and it's like I said, it's. I think the eras are different. I mean, Bruce Lee came from China on a boat, dude. I mean, he's the ultimate American story. He's the ultimate American story. He came from nothing. I mean, he was an actor. He was a young actor and stuff like that. But he did it all on his own, on his back. Literally, that's why his back was all jacked up. Because he put it all on the line. He did it all 100. He went 150%. He never went half-ass. And you got to. I mean. And you got Jean-Claude. He did the same thing. He comes from money, but he chose to do it on his own. It's like hate him or love him. You gotta respect people.
And we gotta give Muhammad PC credit. I don't know how much time you spent talking to him. Me and Jose, worked with him, and we're gonna share some of those stories. But he goes into so much detail of how they came here together. And, Van Damme barely spoke English. Muhammad actually spoke better English, but was really the rock and supported him so much. So, yes, we got to give Van Damme credit, but behind, every good man is either a woman or I guess a guy like Muhammad Kisi. Right.
I think Muhammad is a better actor.
Really?
Personally. And I think he's a better actor. I just think, can I be real with y'all? It's a color thing. Let's be real. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Come on now. Brown really wasn't popping. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, it's a lot of it was. It was the Rocky craze with Dolph Lundgren being a Russian, same. And then you got another muscular man that can kick and can fly in the air.
Here's the thing, Marcus. People can easily make the color argument, especially in that era, and there's some truth to that, obviously. But at the end of the day, despite the color, Van Damme, whether he's white or whatever, he's just a very handsome, marketable guy.
Oh no, yeah.
Audience. So even if he was mixed or darker complected, those features are just in the physique. It's just beautiful.
That's what made
pleasing to the eye.
That's why Tone Pool was so pivotal.
Bruce Lee could be considered a colored person. He blew up.
He was. Same thing.
Back because he also had a very good look on screen in general.
Remember this about Bruce Lee too, is he was coming from a culture where people didn't look at them as really fighters, even though there was karate in the white community, black community. They were fighters, literally heavyweight fighters, and he's coming here, and the next thing you know, he's getting legit fighters like Joe Louis, Karate Joe Louis, or Chuck Norris, and other guys to step back and stop and say, whoa, what's going on with this guy? And that takes a lot of power. He must have been such a powerful character, impressive movement in real life. I mean, to me, that's the most profound. And he wasn't a big guy. He was not intimidating. With his shirt,
he could bench 300. He could bench 300 pounds, and he was only when he did that, he was 143 when he did that, and that was as big as he's ever been at 140.
Yeah,
Bruce,
double your body weight on the bench or more in that case. That's and he had all kinds of very impressive physical feats, of course. Yeah.